Unless you've been living under a rock lately, then you probably know that as of right now, PlayStation is quite possibly the biggest laughingstock in the whole gaming industry right now. There are so many things I could point to as to why this is the case, but the main ones are the fact that the PS5 Pro's price point is absolutely ridiculous considering how minimal the improvements to the overall games are, and the fact that it doesn't come with a disc drive or even a stand. You're basically just paying $200 extra for more terabytes. Genuinely, what the fuck? And then of course there's also Concord, which has lost hundreds of millions of dollars for Sony because they are catering to an audience that didn't even exist. Literally the only thing keeping Sony away from being an even bigger laughingstock is the fact that Astrobot just so happens to be one of the best 3D platformers since Mario Galaxy 2. Please check it out and play it for the love of God! And now things might just be getting even more humiliating for Sony as recently, and by recently I mean yesterday, a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster has been rated by ESRB and has practically been confirmed. I just want you to think about that. A game that is 8 years old and already has a sequel on PS5 is getting a remaster. You know, it wasn't enough to already be getting remakes and remasters of The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. Now Horizon has to join on the fun as Sony's variety just keeps dwindling down and down. Friendly reminder, these guys apparently don't have any IPs. It is genuinely getting infuriating seeing Sony catering for the same 4 or 5 IPs to just constantly be making remakes and remasters to, while they have so many past IPs that are in such desperate need of remakes and remasters, and let alone actually making new games for these franchises as well. And I hate to say this, but I think I know the reason why, and it pains me to say because I'm a real big fan of it as well. But Sony, we don't give that much of a shit about the DualSense. I don't know where Sony got this mindset where they just have to go and take every single PS4 game, or at least the big ones, and have to have them remastered on PS5. Like, they tout that it's 4K and 60 FPS that you're gaining, but we all know, or at least I know, that they really just want to keep wowing you away with the fancy haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. Now listen, the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers are fine as it is. But the reason why you make sequels to so many of the games on the PS4 is so that you can have the adaptive triggers and haptic feedback in this sequel version of the game that's trying to be a better version of the original. It's actually a reason as to why the new game might actually be better than the original. And that also means that playing an experience in this world already exists with the adaptive triggers. So it's not like you're going to be seeing much new with them implemented into the older games. It's an absolute waste of times and resources to be spending so much time remastering and remaking games that are less than 10 years old, all just for the sake of having haptic feedback and adaptive triggers in them. And so much of the time, if you own the game, these updates aren't even free. You have to pay a whole $10 for them. $10 just to add haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, it's just not worth it. It is just asinine. Once again, you can remaster a bunch of the older games that you have and have them feel like new experiences with the adaptive triggers and haptic feedback, as well as the fact that they'll probably be way nicer looking than they originally did on PS3 or PS2 or hell, even PS1 if you want to go that far, but we know you won't. Practically everyone would much prefer that over you just doing this for PS4 games and PS4 games alone. Let alone ones that are just the same old cinematic dribble that you've been feeding us for the past decade, it feels like. Hell, look at Astrobot! It's not a remake of an older game, it's not a remaster, it is a completely new experience, and the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers is one of the best things about the game. But once again, it's for something new, something unique, a game that's just so filled with creativity and ideas left and right. Something that Sony games used to be known for before they all started being in the format of being hyper cinematic. Games like Sly and Infamous would definitely be improved with these features, let alone looking nice and running at a stable frame rate to the point where they can be considered a new experience when compared to their original counterparts. Something that can't be said for so many of the PS4 games that Sony just keeps deciding to remaster because they've lost all touch. If anything, it's honestly disheartening seeing them use the DualSense, which is such an innovative and unique controller, as means to try and sell you games that you already own on PS4 for $10 extra. And it's that mindset that they think that just because they add haptic feedback and adaptive triggers to PS4 games, that people will just buy it anyway instead of making completely new stuff. And it's just no wonder why they get made fun of so often. All we can do is hope that Astrobot's success wakes Sony the heck up and they realized that we want to play so many of the franchises that they've left abandoned on PS5 with better graphics and with the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers of the DualSense. If they can deliver on that, then maybe, just maybe, they could be able to turn their trajectory as a company around. As well as make the PS5 Pro less expensive and give it a disc drive and stand. Jesus Christ. But anyway, that's about all I have to say on this topic. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think about Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster, and if you think that the DualSense is an excuse for Sony to keep remastering PS4 games. As always, thanks for watching, and peace out. Please, I just want Sly and Cole back, Sony! Please, for the love of God!